I was going to start with something.
Good.
Bear with me.
Because what I've got isn't even talking. It's an object.
Is that a gift you usually give to people?
Well,
Just talking.
Are we explaining what's going on, Ben? Is that what you're going to do? Because we should introduce it.
I'm just going to... I've got a little start, mate.
Okay.
It's great for a podcast.
None of this will make the edit.
No.
This will be before the drum fill.
Yeah.
This is the sort of shit people love, though, and it's behind the curtain. It's just like exciting.
Behind the shit curtain.
Yeah. Beef.
Oh, it's crass.
Welcome to Drum and Drummer, a podcast focused on drums, drumming and drummers. I'm George Pickering and that's Ben Winty, and we are both professional drummers in this business we call music. So stick around and join us as we pass the time whilst trying to stay in time.
80 quid to come down from Brighton. He's taking the piss.
If I'm lucky.
Yeah, if he's lucky, yeah. Maybe a couple of free cokey wokies on the
I think
side.
you've made that 80 quid back in bread.
Yeah, well, that's it, yeah.
Prise me away from tradition. It's our Christmas special.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different. All right?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Well,
Don't worry, this will all make sense.
Okay, was it the fact...
Because you've got no idea.
Was it the fact you said prise me away from tradition, but emphasise prize?
Maybe.
Like I'm watching a Darren Brown thing.
Maybe.
Where it's like he throws it back.
Just saying, I've been thinking things through. Anyway, it's Drum and Drummer Christmas special.
Yeah.
It's coming out on Boxing Day, so we
Yeah.
hope you had a lovely Christmas day.
Yeah.
You're looking at me like
No,
I'm about
I'm
to...
thinking let's introduce Lennon quickly because he looks nervous.
It's a shambles. No, I'm just like...
No, because we're just talking to each other.
Yeah,
and
I'm
Lennon's
getting
watching
there.
us
Well,
like tennis.
I thought we were doing the intro first, so I was letting you both do that.
No, it's all good.
Sweet.
Yeah, no,
cool,
yeah.
I'm a
I
consummate
don't
professional.
like leaving people out. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
I know how these things work, mate, all right? And I was sitting
He's
back.
not been left out. He's been invited in the inner circle.
Yeah.
First choice as well.
Yeah. I think, right, so my point being, I just want to set the scene
Okay.
that Christmas was yesterday,
Ah, right.
right?
great day
So we
that
hope
was,
you
wasn't
had a good Christmas. But we decided, Christmas special, we're going to keep this on a Thursday
Yeah.
and Boxing Day. Not
Yeah.
going to move it a day early.
No.
So we're keeping that tradition. Do you remember last week, you see, I talked about traditions. And I don't like traditions, especially the Sunday roast. But that's another thing. So, but we're keeping the tradition of the Drum and Drummer Christmas special, but we're breaking the tradition because we have someone else with us today.
We do, yeah.
Big time. Big
Here
time,
he
boys.
is.
Yeah. Lennon Taylor.
Yeah,
Lennon Taylor.
the very same.
Let us explain.
John Lennon Taylor.
There we go.
I've never asked about the name Lennon, but
Well, it's Christmas, so, you know,
well,
go on.
I assume someone was a John Lennon
Yeah,
fan.
yeah, mum and dad,
Yeah.
the duo. Yeah,
Yeah.
big Beatles fans, and it was between that and Ringo, genuinely.
Really?
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
Dad wanted Ringo, and my mum decided, no, that's, you know, dog's name, innit? So went for Lennon, and it was all right in the end. So
Wow.
Yeah, and if you'd been
Could've been a
called
lot worse.
Ringo, not only would it be named after a drummer, but also a parking
well,
app.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a modern way. I feel somewhat like Ringo today. I've sort of replaced a member of the core group, I think, for the Christmas special. haven't I?
Yeah.
Like the old.
Yeah.
Pete
Yeah,
Best
been
has
let down
kicked
there.
out.
Obviously, we're still expecting one more.
Mm.
He's late,
Yeah.
in usual fashion. And Josh, as he's poorly.
Yeah.
But
He's poorly, and we're so busy,
yeah.
we couldn't reschedule.
But
Yeah,
who
because
remembers
it's-
Pete Best
what
is
is it,
what
the
is my
18th
point,
now?
you know. Who remembers Pete Best?
Absolutely.
Ringo came in and
Ringo's here. Yeah.
changed the landscape, didn't he? So
Yeah, exactly.
that's why I'm here.
Do you know, I was with someone once who used to work on a cruise, and she said that Pete Best did a talk on a cruise once.
Just
That's
to
what
talk,
he's doing
didn't bother
nowadays.
drumming.
Just
Yeah.
talks
No one wanted
on
to hear
cruises.
him drumming at
Yeah.
all.
No, exactly. What a terrible...
So I wonder,
Twist of
right? I
fate.
wonder with those sorts of things, because I was looking through comedy nights
Yeah.
to see if there's anything I could maybe get the mothership for Christmas, you know. And you're flicking through, and you're looking at the Kings, looking at the Guildhall,
Yeah.
and you got comedy, and you got you know, a lot of tribute acts. I get that.
Hell of a
Shows about, you know, it's all Rod Stewart stuff.
The
It's all
cheaper
Michael
version.
Jackson. Absolutely. Yeah,
Basically.
yeah. But then you've just got a night with Phil the Power Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, I'm expecting quite a lot from
Yeah.
a night.
Sold
Like,
out.
Yeah.
yeah, what's he
Couldn't get
doing?
tickets.
Well, yeah.
Is
Claudia
it-
Winkleman did a show as well at the Brighton
Interesting,
Dome.
Is it him?
Interesting
Is he
to-
just playing darts? You know,
Well, I don't know. I think it's like one of
With
them
his
Q&A
tits.
type vibes, isn't it? That it's. I think they have like almost like a compere up there, giving them scripted questions. So it's probably the same every night
Every
to an
night.
extent. Like probably 80% of it stays the same.
Yeah.
They've got like a set list almost of questions.
Well, a
I
lot of
suppose.
people are
What was
doing
your first drum
stand-up
kit? I
now.
mean,
Yeah.
dartboard.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Caleb from Clarkson's Farm has a stand-up show
He's big time now, isn't he? Yeah.
Which is mental. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's weird. Stand-up seems like anyone, if you're a celeb, can sort of do it. It's
Well,
sort
this
of
is
like
the thing,
writing a
I mean,
book, you know?
Yeah, I think you're ahead of the game, aren't you? If you've got a
Already
profile
got a
already,
following.
because people are going to see you rather than going to see the material.
Yeah.
Which is why I think a lot of those like up and coming like stand-up comedians that have like been on the circuit and stuff don't respect these like sort of celebrity
No, of
types
course
that come
they
into
don't.
the game and just try and just immediately
Or
sell
even
out
like
these big
the
venues and stuff.
comedians who blow up on Instagram or TikTok,
Yeah, this is it, yeah.
and
Yeah.
then they're doing a tour.
Mm.
Like, well, have you done that?
But do they stay? You know, that's the question.
But in their shoes, you've probably got to take the opportunity, haven't you?
Oh, my God, yeah. Cash in. Well, do you remember that tennis
Come to
star,
the Kings, watch a night with Drum and Drummer.
Emma Raducanu? You know, she
Yeah.
won that Open, and then after that, she did so many adverts, and people slated her. But I was like,
She
I'd
hasn't
do
won
that.
a game since.
She hasn't won a game since.
Well, yeah.
But she's got so much British Air money from, you know, the advert she did. You know, you've got the
Take it.
Grand Slam. You know, that's more than most people ever do. you
Yeah.
know? More than a lot of pro
This
tennis
is what's
players.
come for you boys, isn't it? You know, just take the adverts and stuff, take the
This
take
is
the
it.
dirty cash.
Yeah, take the Evans
Run away
free
with it.
drum. Well, I mean, we got so excited over some free drum heads. Imagine if we actually got real money.
Yeah, you
I
look
mean,
like you want to go.
I was going to say, I'm going to get the present now. Because,
God, here we go.
yeah, get ready, Lennon.
I don't like receiving presents, and let alone like on a podcast. It feels quite strange just to
We've
be
lured you into quite a dark
under
room.
Yeah. It's a strange one.
Oh dear. So how do you
Excited.
really feel about George?
Oh well, oh no, he's back.
Are you ready?
Oh yeah.
I think so. Oh, here we go. So, obviously, this is like you're all listening. You can't see what's been going on here, but I've been given the biggest loaf of bread I've ever seen in my life, sliced perfectly, which
It really
I know is
is, yeah.
responsible for that.
Yeah.
It's almost in the shape of a heart as well, which is quite cute.
Or a kidney.
Or a kidney, yeah. I mean, probably, yeah.
Maybe a liver.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I really appreciate that. It's
all right.
ideal as well, so I don't have to ask for one now.
No, you
I've
don't.
got one.
You did ask the last gig.
Yeah,
You know,
it's quite a lot of bread there, though. Is one what I will say. Is,
I mean, in terms of.
somewhere I can put it? Or
Yeah, I don't know.
Just chuck it down there for now.
Let's use it as a mattress if
Yeah.
you need.
It's
Yeah,
nice.
there you
Smell
go.
it already through the bag as well.
It's good bread. That's what's called a farmhouse loaf.
Yeah, I thought it was. I didn't want to like assume, but
No,
It's,
you make an ass out of
well,
you
cheers
and
for
me.
that. Yeah,
That's
it's,
all right. Well, that's just
So what, George?
becoming-
Let's talk through your involvement of that, because as we found out recently, you've got a new job.
Yeah.
You ditched the kids.
Mm.
You moved on to bread. Bit easier to manage.
Yeah.
like for like.
Probably some of them.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
No, can't talk. No, it's all. So you don't actually do the slicing.
A machine.
A machine does
yeah.
the slicing, but you're
Not
sort of
qualified yet.
responsible.
I
for
tried to get a video last night. Do you want to see a video of this? I mean, this is terrible for people listening because they don't get to see, but we'll work out a way to get through it. But yeah, I've got a
popped
video.
on our social media.
I know. I've got a video of the
They'll
slicing.
be dying for that.
Sure.
It's quite. It is quite sort of
There you go, that's
Christmassy
how it
as well,
comes
actually,
through.
isn't it?
You see that?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what I'm looking at now
It's
is
almost
just
like
some
a-
bread being sliced. We don't really need to put that on the
Oh, you
socials.
didn't travel far
We
to
can
get
all-
here.
yeah.
Here's some bread, and here's
Yeah.
how it was
It's
sliced.
mad because seeing it there, and then look, I can see it down here. That's the
Yeah.
finished product.
Is that
It's
the
like-
loaf?
That's maybe I don't
It
know.
did look similar. Let me see it again.
By the way,
Just proves the
Elliot's
consistency of the
Well,
bakery.
yeah.
ETA has just been moved
So-
to 5:20.
Jeez Louise.
Do we tell him to leave it?
Really?
Yeah, because it's 4:30 now.
Yeah, probably.
Shall I call him? Let's call him on the pod.
Oh, this has been a washout. All the best ones haven't turned up.
Kind of sad. I don't know whether we
Yeah.
can pull
Merry
that in.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a shame. So
Yeah.
we'll probably cut all that out. But we gave Elliot a ring. But there's been a big oil spill on a
Yeah.
major road in the
Yeah.
south,
Yeah.
and thus he is delayed. So we could wait, but we're not going to bother.
No.
Because we got plans, we got lives.
We got lives.
Got
You
bread.
know.
We've got enough here to
We
like.
got
Lennon's
so much
providing
yeah.
bread for all
bants.
of us.
We've had a very bread-heavy couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shall we switch from bread?
Nah.
Fine.
And let's find out a little bit more about
Yeah, let's do
Ringo,
it because
Lennon.
already
All right,
we
there we
found
go,
his
yeah.
name.
That's what everyone
So
wants for Christmas,
you've been
yeah.
mentioned on the show a fair few times.
Yeah, those are the episodes I've listened to, by the way.
Yeah.
as well. Those ones that I know that I've had a gig with George before.
Yeah.
Tune in.
I remember asking you, I said, which one? You said, oh, it was called We Always Have Eggs. And I went, I still don't know what that
All the
means.
names are good, aren't they? Yeah.
But no, he does that. He finds out if I've been talking about him. And I always have.
I've listened to more than just those ones, but I mean, those are the main ones. I'm not gonna.
I don't blame you. I would do the same.
Yeah. Roles reversed, you'd definitely be.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a time where we've done something and then I haven't talked about it? Have you ever listened and gone, I didn't get a name check? That's a
I
shame.
don't know. I mean, I'm always disappointed with the amount of the pod is devoted to me. To be honest,
You're disappointed.
I'm always
by
expecting like a little segue into something, and then it's sort of like, oh yeah, I had a gig with Lennon and Joe did this, or Ben did this.
yeah.
And it'll be like, oh yeah, well maybe I need to like do something
Joe,
different.
You just need to do more things Joe does. Let's talk about some Joeisms. We will come back to you.
So
but
even on my bit, Joe's even taken this bit
he's
up.
come
I'm
all the way.
in the
He's
pod
in
now.
the building. He's official guest, and you want to talk about
Joe.
Joe.
This is what I meant. Yeah, this was my issue. And now you're just bringing
rude,
it
isn't
back
it?
to
literally
the
the issue, and I absolutely just did it.
That's fine, mate. Don't worry about it.
Because
Where is Joe, by the way? He's not. Can make it.
No,
that's what funny.
No, so we got you.
He's not unemployed, so
He thought he was
can
busy,
actually-
but it turned out his mate was busy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, so we know this
Can
one
we
already.
say about the other day? Where on the
That's
group
when you
chat-
paused it because he'd finished saying
Yeah,
Lennon. Yeah.
On the group chat, Lennon, Joe, Ben Y, and myself were doing a gig, and Leonard said, "Oh, do you want to tell this?"
Yeah, so I just said, like discussing set lists and whatnot, you sort of say, oh, we got to do this, X, Y, and Z. And I said, oh, they've asked for Wonderwall, and it was a little bit of a last-minute addition to the set. And I know it's one of those ones that people are a bit like, oh, Wonderwall again, you don't want to play that all the time. So I said, oh, they've asked for Wonderwall, let's chuck that in the set. And Joe said, we did that last week. And I didn't, it could have been taken in any number of ways. So I was a bit like, well, what does he mean? Is there like a quota? You're only allowed to play Wonderwall maybe like 3-4 times a year? I don't know. But what he actually meant was, oh no, it's not a problem. We played it last week. Why are you saying it like it's an issue? And I only said that because obviously it's one of those ones people don't always like to play. But he took it as, we sort of both had the same reaction to it, didn't
He's
we?
like, well, I already played this song on another gig.
I'm not going to do it again. That's mad.
Yeah.
But then it got better.
It will be the exact same people watching as last time,
Yeah.
so they don't need to hear it.
Yeah. Different venue, yeah.
But then you said, all right, guys, so tonight we're going to wear white shirt and black trousers.
Yeah, I mean, he's a strange one, Joe. Like, we love him to death, but he's... Yeah, I said, let's just keep it simple. Well, I thought it was keeping it simple. White shirts, black trousers, or black shirts, black trousers, whatever. The classic sort of waiter look, I think, is always safe for a corporate do. And I get a text when I was about 15 minutes away from the venue from Joe saying, I'm not wearing a white shirt, mine's in the wash, I'm wearing green. It's not even like monochrome or like,
No, black
you can't even get away with it. Like grey would even be fine, but like green is just going to be so out of the colour scheme.
It's so out of the colour scheme.
And then, so that was the second thing on that gig that was weird from Joe. The third one was, we arrived and he'd come with Ben Y, and Ben Y said, oh, have you told Lennon yet? And he said, no, I haven't told him. And I said, what? I just knew it was going to be something. And he said, yeah, I've left my clothes at home, as in the gig clothes. So I was like, right, so first you didn't have the correct clothing anyway, and now you've even left the wrong clothes at home. So, do you know what I mean? It's mental. Like, I don't know how you can be so disorganised for a gig, but still turn up and he plays great. Obviously, he's always like, he's always fantastic.
Yeah.
But just everything prior to that just fills me with anxiety. Like, I don't know how he runs his life.
You have said, to make it sort of half about you, half about him. This isn't slagging him off, but you've said, sometimes you'll tell him, hey man, what time we get into the venue or something, and he's forgotten he's had a gig. But
yeah, just give him a little bit of an extra, like sort of 20 minutes add on, just to keep it
I have
safe.
someone like that in one of my bands.
yeah,
I think you need to, don't you?
I overcompensate with explaining, like, for example, the gig details we get sent from Tailored has all the, and I send that on to the band, but for this one particular person, I will, in my email, before you've got the forwarded stuff, I will be very clear with arrival time, and I will find the venue on Google Maps and I will put a link to it. So there's no excuse for him not to know where that venue is.
I feel like, is that person me?
No.
Well, I was going to say, you threw me under the bus, George, with saying, oh, you said this about Joe Gisby. So are we going to do the same to Ben or
But
not?
it's
We just wanna ask.
The amount of times though, you send the gig details out and it's got all the information required, and people on the day don't know what's required.
Yeah, it's a frustrating one.
And
that,
it's that thing, and I get it. There's a lot of information, so that's unnecessary in that itinerary. So I will strip out the key points, and I have an email template of a draft with headers. So I fill in like things of note: arrival time, end time, food, then logistics like what time, and here's a specific link to the venue, set list, just those things. So like, it's unavoidable to find out the information that's required, and I do it now for every band and every. I think it's a shame because it's, talented people, but you shouldn't. It's that thing of you should be able to send them information, them read it, digest it, analyze it, and then follow that instructions.
So I think it's like one of those.
So many people don't. And you have to go, right. But you've got to learn how different people work.
Well, this is the thing, like Joe and like other people as well, like not just him, but some people I find just function perfectly fine, like with that level of like chaos.
Yeah.
And he is someone that's like so calm in these situations, whereas I'm like totally the opposite way and I'm stressing about everything, all details and everything. Whereas he can just continue on, and I sort of feel like that's then another stress, because it's like you're thinking, why aren't you annoyed, like, or why aren't you like worrying about this thing? And it's great. I'd love to be more like that, but I think like I'm the same as you. Like I want to try and sort of give people no reason to mess up, basically.
Because then I know I've done everything I can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To make this work, but then the other week you were just voice noted us on the drive to London. All right, boys, forgot me in ears. And
good.
And then I feel like, and it's my problem, but I feel like, well, that's now my issue.
Yeah.
Like, and I had some spare headphones, but you didn't want them.
Well, they were caked in shit.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. No, I think I there's certain things I go.
I'd
be
livid with myself if I forgot my
really
in ears. But I have a whole system set up. I won't forget them.
Yeah.
There's a whole checklist. Of
is
what
this
equipment.
because you've forgotten them in the past and you've gone through that thing of?
I think it was definitely those things. I think a lot of it was from like orchestra at uni.
Oh right, so
there's no excuse.
Yeah,
there's no excuse to be unprepared.
Is that quite military then? That experience?
Yeah, it's definitely. If you make a mistake, you ain't doing it again.
Yeah, because I feel like I've never been in that environment. It's always just
I
been
think
like,
a lot more people should be in that environment. Should have, and not everyone's going to experience it. And I think for me, that's a stark contrast between people I know who've gone to like a music conservatoire, or people have gone and studied like a rock and pop course. There is a distinction. It's very different, and I'm not saying there's difference in terms of like ability, but Royal College music, there's no excuse for not having a pencil with you to be able to write notes on your score. Yeah. There's no excuse for not being prepared for your
so it's just accountability then. It's just the whole thing.
Yeah, and the problem, and what happens is, you make that mistake, don't expect to be an orchestra again for the year. And you see that happen to other people, and it happens to you, and it roots out that stuff from day one.
Okay.
And you just don't do it again.
So Whiplash,
you make sure
the film, is it quite is a little bit more?
I think it's a little bit more hammed up, but there's definitely like, I've been in situations where the leader of it was actually a brass band, a leader, you've got a competition coming up, and he's not happy with it, and he'll go, right, you play it on your own. And if you can't do it, he will spend 20 minutes of the 2-hour rehearsal on one person.
Right, okay.
To get it. He won't move on until he's happy.
But that's effective for everyone else as well, I guess, because they're looking at that thinking, I don't want that to be me.
Absolutely.
So,
you make sure
you getting the dressing down, everyone else is also sat there shitting themselves.
And you're 17.
Yeah.
And so and different conductors have different methods, but there are people like that. And there is, I'm pretty sure at uni, someone was late, and it didn't matter that the tube had broken down. And it's unrealistic.
Okay,
A lot of it, sometimes it's unrealistic, but, rehearsal started at 10:30. So you go, okay.
Give yourself more time then.
You think, I'll get there at 20, as long as I get my 25 past, and then I can get my instrument out of the case and sit down. No. You should be in your seat by no later than 10:15, which means you got to prepare to basically get there at 10:15 to give yourself leeway or even earlier, and you are not only sat in your seat at 1/4 past, you've already rehearsed, you've already practiced, you've already had a section rehearsal,
right.
and then at 10:30, the conductor walks out, battened down, and you should be able to play it. The whole orchestra should be able to play it on day one. That's when the rehearsal starts. It's not like, oh, get there and be kind of ready. And then if you haven't got your mute, or you're not prepared to write something down, just all those things, like, and I guess there is an element of like where you are that makes you go, I don't want to fuck this up.
You're in the grand concert hall of the Royal College of Music. You
spent your life getting there. You can see the esteem, like the conductor's from Russia. He's a well-renowned conductor, and you don't want to be the one to fuck it up. And you see other people fuck it up. You fuck it up yourself, and the consequences are very kind of real, and it just beats it out of you.
Yeah.
But you will be prepared. You will be on time.
Yeah, and I suppose then, like, using those principles in like a gig, like a sort of function gig, it's like maybe not to the extreme, but like if you're applying those same sort of rules, it's like everything seems easier, I suppose, compared to that.
Yeah.
Which is like, I can definitely see the value in like having that background, because I think for me, like I didn't have any sort of band background up till about whenever we started.
Let's talk about
Wildwood.
your background then.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, I just find that interesting, because it's like a totally different, not a different approach, because I think like I'd like to say I'm fairly like that in the sense of like trying to organise things and stuff, but probably not to the same, well, definitely not to the same extent with all the consequences and shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm a conductor when we have gigs, George. Like,
No.
at the front,
But
like,
it's funny though.
it's-
But well, going on from that is Ben and I have discussed this before. It's like there's certain musicians that will play things in a way that like they're very regimented, and I've learned to play this way, and that is it. And then there's certain musicians who learn how to play in bands, in garages, and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think it's probably good to have a mix of both.
Well, I think I was in a good position. I had both of those things because I was doing the classical trombone, but then I was playing punk and ska as a drummer. So I was doing the toilet venues and the gigs, but I was also then doing the
that's
classical
like
concerts.
proper, the full spectrum in of everything.
And for me, it I took the best from both worlds and kind of could be a bit more fun in the classical setting, but I could take a bit of the formality.
You do need
into
that
the
like relief, I imagine, like in the orchestral stuff, because it's like the way you've described it and the way I imagine it, and like just from what I know in general, is like it feels so daunting. Like I don't know what your background is, George, really, like in terms of that type of stuff, but it just feels like for someone that isn't from that world.
But what's funny,
it just feels so intimidating, and
is I do wish that the rock and pop courses as a sort of thing I did, I wish they were a bit more like that, because I think the only example we had that was perhaps like a uni Ben went to was the lessons with Pat Garvey. That was it, and everyone did sort of. I think it's fair to say, especially first year, there was a sort of fear towards him. And I quite liked it because it was exactly the same thing. And I think he's from that sort of background, and it was like, you don't want to mess up, But then in lessons where it was a bit more relaxed, and it did feel like, you could come in late, or you could just, But I think now that I'm older, I'm like, God, I wish I had that more. You sort of watch Whiplash. I wish it was like that, and then it could, because then it weeds people out. It's like
different people take it different ways, and. I switched trombone teacher. My teacher from last year was cutting down his hours, so they got someone else in. And I was a bit disappointed to move, but I moved over. And the first teacher, while brilliant, was very much like
more sort of would play it kind of to show you it, and was a bit more verbal and
it would explain things. And then my new teacher was very much like, that was shit, do it again.
Yeah.
And I saw another student couldn't handle that method of teaching, but for me it was what I needed to give me that kick up the arse. But I think things happen, and you're going to be late to gigs, or to something's going to happen if it's not. But for me, I've seen it where I think, no, you're not late because of traffic.
You're late because you haven't left enough time.
You haven't prepared yourself enough. You haven't got this with you. You don't know. Someone's like, oh, we're doing that. Yeah, you should fucking know we're doing that. I sent you this set 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Why are you not on... Why is this not in your... And I think what frustrates me is when perhaps a musician, it can give them a sort of, I don't know if it's like the arrogance, but
yeah,
like
definitely like a disrespect for the situation.
Yeah, and I had to say to one of my bandmates, and just actually bring it up and say, look, I'm really sorry, but your constant lateness is a real issue now.
Yeah.
And we have to address it, and we have to sort something out. And I almost had to do it kind of like like a parent, and be like, why do you think being late is a problem? And get him to come up with the answers.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, it's you know, and it's that thing, like, it's not fair to the rest of us.
Well, no,
who
it's not a
turn
job
up,
for you to do
lug
that,
all
is
the
it?
gear, and it's not. It's the clients are paying us to be there at 5 or whatever the time. We might not do anything for an hour. That's luck of the draw. But they could also go, can you start at 6:30?
Yeah,
and if you're not there and not ready, you are being paid. A contract has been signed. You have been paid. The very least you can do is be there on time. And when people are late and you can tell it was some flat top, whatever, that's fine. But you can generally tell people when it's just a natural malaise. It's a personality trait. It's a pattern. Yeah. And not being pattern, I think. But I think on the flip side, I also struggle to then be more malleable with changes on the day. So if someone's like, oh, could we play this instead of this? I can be a bit hesitant to do that because, no, this is the set. This is what my...
The thing is, like you say, like with that, it's like, if you've had plenty of time, like I always think, say that a week before.
Yeah.
If you've got an issue with it, like I don't like that on the day either. Like,
that makes me go, oh, you want to do that because you don't know this song.
Yeah.
So you're putting that burden on everyone else to change what they're doing.
Well, this is the thing. Yeah, like we've got obviously
because you've not spent the time.
We've got Lucy in Wildwood, who's like very, very on it in terms of like sending us all a set list and always gives us plenty of time to like approve it or raise any issues we've got. And as a band, we're really good, I'd say, at not on the day saying, oh, we need to change this, need to change that.
No.
And, you know, like I think like I value that because I'm probably similar to you, Ben. Like I don't like that sort of panic on the last minute of thinking.
See,
like,
I'm the opposite.
I'm really
you two. I like it. Do you know
do
what I mean? I like when someone throws
right
a
on the
curveball.
precipice, baby.
Yeah,
Just there.
and they're like, right, we're gonna play this. Do you know it? But I played with Dutch Criminal Record once, and they were hired by a bride and groom who had gone to one of their gigs. They were like, we want an actual band, you know. And on the break between sets, we had 15 minutes. They were like, can you learn Socks and Sandals, one of our songs? Because they've just asked for one of ours. I was like, yep. You know, and I quite like that kind of like, oh shit, it's not going to be good enough. They were like, yeah, it's fine. This will be fine. You'll just do it. But yeah, somewhere in between though.
I feel like that possibly is like obviously it's going to be different across the board, like whoever you speak to, like whatever instrument they play and whatever their role is. But I always feel like the change for me as like someone singing at the front is like really, really.
But that's right, because on bass, if anyone wants to change anything, I go, no, I can't do that. But that's more my ability.
Yeah, this is
They're
it.
like,
So
we need to change the key. I'm like, well, we can't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not great with keys and stuff. If I can move a capo, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But if like Joe and Ben are like, oh yeah, let's do this, and I'm like, yeah, let me just spend like 3 hours working out what the changes are going to be without sort of, I don't have that knowledge and stuff.
No, exactly.
But yeah, like I feel like if it's a case of, oh, do this song and it's like lyrics I don't know or like whatever it is or like a structure I don't know, I'm really like, oh.
Yeah.
Especially at weddings, because I feel like, again, it's just that little bit of like, if this was my wedding and I had a band in and I could see someone like constantly doing this. And
I was just about to say, I think that's a big thing
point,
for me, is I'm really thinking about the quality of the product that we're selling, that people are paying obscene amounts of money for.
It can
in
be
reality.
embarrassing, you know, if you play with a band and you know that people know that this isn't real. I did a first dance with a band once, I won't say who, but it wasn't good, you know, and it was obvious that they ended it early and fucked it up and didn't know the words, and it was like, I was trying to hide as much as I could at the back.
Because it reflects on all of you, doesn't it? Like, I know this is like the classic thing of people saying, like, oh, one person makes it bad, but it is true.
And I think I don't like having the feeling of like, oh, your laziness and ill preparedness is going to make me look bad.
Exactly.
When I've done everything needed.
in,
I've done what I can do and what I need to do.
Yeah.
I will just say,
and I ultimately think people can tell.
Yeah, 100%.
People can tell. And I had a depth singer once years ago, and you could the whole 2 hours we were like, this is not good enough.
Yeah. And you can't perform then either.
No,
like,
and it's very high, and you're really trying to just steady some semblance of the ship and keep it like, make it kind of okay. And then a guest came up to us afterwards, the singer wasn't there, and she was like, "Oh, you guys were good, but your singer didn't know the songs."
Oh God, that's the worst.
No. And he was singing, Common People, or Disco 2000, one of the pulp ones, a very different melody. It's like, because you don't know it, don't know it, and people can tell, and I don't want to be lumped into that kind of like. And I think the trouble is, I can see why musicians do it, but I don't like the arrogance of it, and I don't like your problem is now my problem.
Well, this is like the thing when I started with Wildwood, whenever it was like 21 or something like that. Taylor would send me different things like, "Oh, do you want a depth for this band, or do you want a depth for this band?" And I hadn't had any band experience prior to that, and I'm in a different situation now. But then I was like, no, because I don't feel like I can offer anything of any value to this band. Like, I know like probably 80% of the set list, but I don't want to turn up as like the odd one out as a dep, not be like really, really confident with the set, and then that be really obvious and it reflect on everyone else. Because I feel like that's just like, I'd rather than go for someone else and me miss the gig, because I just don't like the idea of like having a reputation as well as like potentially someone that's like, oh yeah, he just turns up and wings it. Like, I just really think it's like, we have a fun job and it's great, and it's like we all enjoy it and we all get to play with our mates and stuff.
Going back to what you said about having fun in the classical music scene, I think this aligns here is, I think having fun's great, but have the fun once you've done the work.
Do your homework, play football, and
we would have fun in the classical scene because we'd fucking nail it
on the stage.
If you were having fun and you hadn't nailed it, people aren't happy.
No. The rest of your section aren't happy. The conductor's not happy.
And I've had it here with interns at the studio
where I've had to say, like,
I can interact with the clients like this because I've earned the right to.
Yeah, you're right.
Because I'm doing a good job and pushing the right buttons, and I've spent years cultivating them as a client and working with them. You cannot do that because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So we can have the fun because if there's anything, I'm on it. And I think you have to earn that.
Let's talk about you, Lennon. So when you're saying, was this Wildwood Sky, was that the first band you've been in?
First band, yeah. I mean, I was in like a couple of little things, like, in school and things, but never really did anything with it.
No.
Wildwood was the first band that I was in where we were going out and.
So what did you learn about being solo to then being in a band?
Solo is so much easier than being in a band for me, because I know a lot of people are different. Like, a lot of people you speak to and they feel confident with people behind them, like they feel like they've got that sort of element covered.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel the opposite, because I don't like like I was saying earlier, I don't like the idea of, if I mess up, I'm not only messing up for me, I'm messing up for all these other people that are with me. So like, I found that really tricky, because I'd come from only playing with myself. Oh no, playing on my own.
And
playing on my own and just like thinking, right, if I want to change the structure here, I'll do that. Or
that was what I was going to say. So I've said this before, and I think I said it to Elliot when we did a Christmas podcast, maybe the first one, about how he was sort of similar. I was,
he was in a similar boat. Yeah.
I really had to grill him on structures, and then he started playing with Ben, and then Ben grilled him even more on structures.
Yeah.
But I totally got it, because you and Lucy were kind of from the same thing. And I never took it as like they haven't done their homework. It was more like, it was just because if you play Valerie in a pub and it's just you can extend it. But then when you're in a band, it has to be like, the same or whatever. And I remember like those rehearsals, it was really sort of like, right, let's really keep going at this. And I don't know, like, right, it has to be like the song.
Yeah, definitely.
Not even just for us, but because I was like, because I'm not going to do all the gigs, you know what I mean?
Well, this was it. I mean, like this, I definitely, those rehearsals were like a bit of a in at the deep end thing for me, because I found that songs that I played for years that I just did my own way.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this isn't actually anything like the actual real version. I just do it like this because it goes down well, like in the pubs I play or wherever.
Yeah.
And like you're everything. Like when you're on your own, it's like you're everything, aren't you? Like you're the conductor, you're the like percussion, you're the obviously like rhythm, everything. So it's like having these other parts being delegated to other people and me only being in control of one of them was like a bit of a weird thing, because I just felt like totally out of control, which is good, like, because it's made me a better musician 100%. Like, I really value that I've done it now, because I feel like a lot more confident going into those situations, and I feel like, as I was saying, like, I dep now and do all these other things and feel great going into these gigs and love it. But like early on, I was like really like racked with nerves for like the first time in a good few years, like performing, because I felt like, oh, this is really alien to me, like this whole idea of like just letting it go and only being responsible for this one thing. It was really strange.
I get what you mean though about the whole sort of like, if you mess up, then it messes everyone up. But is there ever like the other way of like, oh, I've got my band, so
it depends. Like, I think there's certain songs that we do where it's like those rock and roll tunes, and it'll be like 3 chords, and you can just be like, oh, just Joe solo there, or Ben, I'll do this, and it's like those are fine. Yeah, because I think like the nature of those is that, or like the characteristics of those anyway, are that like they should be a little bit jammy, I think. And like some of the blues stuff, like when we do like the originals stuff, you feel like you can be a little bit looser there.
And I imagine maybe the pressures are. I always thought if you're an acoustic singer and you're on your own, you know that everyone is just staring at you.
Which I never was an issue.
Oh, really?
For me, really. Like, obviously, like early on, I think everyone has those nerves.
Yeah.
But once you got over that thing of like, and without it sounding like an arrogant thing, once you've done a few gigs and you think, oh, actually, I can do this, and it's like something that I've practiced for and I'm able to do it and I can do a good job of it, you know that having the eyes on you isn't an issue. Like, it's more having the eyes on you for the right reason is fine. Yeah. But having them on you for the wrong reason is the worst, is the fear, isn't it?
That's good.
It's not the fear that people have, like, of them looking and being like, oh, that guy's good, or like, this band is good. It's like, if someone fucks up, that's the fear that everyone has, which I felt like when I've got other people around me that I never had any fear that you guys would mess up as well. Because I always felt like when we had those rehearsals, when we had those rehearsals, I was like going back to people and saying like, yeah, these guys are like proper musicians, and I don't feel like a proper musician. I just feel like someone that plays chords and sings and stuff. And it felt like I say, it's made me a better musician now. But yeah, like I never sort of felt like, oh, well, if I mess up, at least someone else might mess up. I was sure there's no risk of that. Everyone's great, so it's not going to happen. Like, I need to be on it for this, you know. But yeah, it's I suppose it's everyone's different, aren't they? Like, some people like that safety net, and it just works.
It's a weird one. I sometimes use it because I sometimes hate the idea of everyone staring at me, but that's why I quite like the fact that I am the drummer. So if it's like a big gig, I think, oh shit, what if everyone's staring? And I go, well, actually, there's a singer there who's far more good looking than me.
Well, no.
Yeah.
It's not. No.
Think of a different gig.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
but like, and then
Lucy's married, actually.
I'll be like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. No one's looking at me. Sometimes I use that. It's like, sometimes if I get nervous, not to talk about me, but like, and I'm like, God, there's a lot of people in this room. I'll try and find someone that isn't focused. Yeah. So I'll look at the back of the room and be like, oh, there's someone there just chatting at the bar. Yeah. I'm like, they're not looking, so no one's looking. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, I think a good example of that was the gig we did the other day, where we were really like gearing ourselves up for like a fight, basically.
Yeah, I was saying this on the last week.
Oh, sorry.
No, but please.
So yeah, it was just that idea of like, you really get it in your head of like, oh, everyone's going to be really like focused on us and really like, you know, possibly a problem.
Yeah.
But then I think actually the reality is that like most people are just enjoying it or not. It's like they make that conscious choices to like either go away from it or get involved and enjoy it. And I think we probably are more tuned into like all the little nuances that we're like doing and stuff like that than anyone else is, I think.
Well, I always think of bands when you see like a pub band which are not good, but everyone's dancing, and you go, I can see so many things going wrong here.
Yeah, it's context, isn't it? I think is everything. Yeah. Like if you're in a, like you say, like a dive bar or something,
but I mean, say playing, like, but then you think of us, and if we make a mistake or something, not to big ourselves up, but you know, sort of go, oh my God, that wasn't perfect. And it's like, no one knows, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think like a lot of the time, like when we've done like pubs and things, you play songs that you think, this is going to go down well. We'll smash this. Like we've really like nailed it and stuff like that. But it's like, because sometimes I think you perform it to the point of like you know it so well that you're not loose and stuff, and you're not like maybe giving that across to the audience.
Yeah. And
then they don't enjoy it, even though you think like, oh, but we played that solid. Like everything was great. but it's something else, and it's like that unwritten thing. Like there's just you can't quite put your finger on it
Oh, is
sometimes.
it like-
Everything's got to line up,
Yeah.
really. Like,
Yeah, exactly,
And you
yeah.
can't control everything. And
No,
you-
but quickly with Lennon,
Yeah.
I know what you mean. The Dave Grohl said about this, he wants things to be just rehearsed just enough.
Yeah, right.
Because
Yeah,
then it still has that sort of energy.
exactly.
Whereas
yeah.
if it's too rehearsed, it can kind of be like, well, you're playing it great, but you're not putting into it because
Yeah,
there's
you're-
no urgency to it.
yeah, I
stuff
know what
like
you mean.
that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah, I
Let's
think
get
it
in.
sort of ties into that because if you're the self-conscious thing, if sometimes for me that depends on the sound of the room.
Yeah,
Like sometimes the sound of the mix in the ears and just how the kit sounds in the room. If it's amazing, really good, I'm like, yeah, I can play anything. I'm indestructible here. But if you play like a really dry marquee and everything feels quite separated in the mix, you feel a lot more sort of self-conscious. Whereas out front, it might not be like that. But with that level of rehearsal, if you played a song like 500 times
and you're trying to play it, get the crowd going. Well, if the crowd are giving you something and it sounds good in the room, I've got no problem playing I Predict a Riot
yeah,
because you're getting something out of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But if there's no one dancing or the sound doesn't feel right or whatever, it's an absolute chore.
Yeah, and there's
so
some-
how can you give it
Yeah,
proper energy
again because it's a song you've played so much you don't even need to think about it.
Yeah.
I think sometimes chasing that is the worst thing as well, isn't it? Like, because you just never get it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just everything's wrong. Or like just little one thing's wrong, and it's like you're trying to constantly compensate for that, and I just don't think,
Yeah.
you just can't always have the perfect storm. Can
No,
you?
you can't.
Yeah. I'd say I've probably done near 600 tailored gigs now.
Mm.
And I think ones that I've gone, that was brilliant.
I think no more than 10.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
No
But
more
then
than
do you
10
think
where I've
that's-
just gone, that's a big bit of what I wanted out of playing music.
That's a mad.
Where the money doesn't even come into it.
yeah,
Where I'd go, that was just brilliant. That was a really good, I had fun. It was a really good experience. All those things aligned. Yeah, no more than 10 gigs.
that's crazy. Yeah, I mean to think that you could probably remember all of them is like, mad. Across that number, you just think. I mean, I know we all have terrible gigs and stuff, but to think like 10 is the the pool that you've got to pick from of stuff that you think is perfect is
Yeah.
I think when you're on your own, that's the one good thing about being in the band is that like when something goes wrong, or like when you're dealing with like a bit of a tricky like events manager or venue manager or something, you've got 4 or 5 of you to sort of say, well, no, this is how this should be done. Whereas like when you're on your own, it's like, I get the classic one of like at certain times I'll like set up somewhere, someone's told me to set up, and then you spent like 20 minutes sound checking, setting up. Someone will come over and say, oh no, you're actually meant to be over here. And it's like you couldn't physically do that with a band because
No.
obviously the time would be so much different, and like there's so much more gear to load in and things like that. And I feel like if you're with 4 or 5 of you, you can say, you can have
But
a little
you
bit of
are
an
one
argument.
of the best at that, Lennon. It's great. You
Well, it's
sort
part of
yeah.
the reason I do the gigs is to get into arguments with people about things that I think are right and just in the world.
It's amazing.
Is
It's
to,
almost like, I wouldn't say you look for it, but you really want to tell people we have an hour and a half to get ready.
Yeah, but it's like Ben was saying about, like, I think if you've got a contract, you're both signing that for a reason, aren't you?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, especially because I feel like I've sort of joked before that I feel like that's one of my role. Like, you know,
Yeah, it
you'll
is.
come and do your stuff like everyone else does their stuff, and I feel like my role within the band is like sort out any stuff.
Oh,
like
it
that.
is. I'm very much like, right, everyone hide behind Lennon. He's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
go talk to the venue person.
Yeah, but I
Because
think
pretty
it's-
much every other band I've ever played in is like, okay, but we can do it in an hour, you know. But you were like, no.
Yeah, because I think it's just I'm more than happy to compromise with people, but it's when
Yeah.
they tell me what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think, well, no, you can't just change everything.
No.
It's like there was someone once, and yeah, you were on it, George. I think that gig, and we'd played Paradise by George Ezra. Have you told this
Oh,
story
yeah.
before? You told this story?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
God.
right.
But
Yeah,
please.
you're right. I've played Paradise, and then at the end of the night, so we'd already played it in the live set, hadn't we? Yeah.
It was
And
like
then
11:57.
this was it, yeah. And then at like 11:57, this lady came up and said, "Oh, can you play Paradise on the whatever it was on the DJ set?" And I was like, "Oh no, the couple have requested this song to be like one of these songs to be last, whatever it was. Don't Look Back in Anger or something." And also
Probably that, yeah.
also we've already played it like in the live set. And then she started with the whole thing of like, "Oh well, I'm pretty sure like they've paid you to take requests and stuff." And I was like, well, yeah, they've also paid us to be here till 12 and it's 11:57.
Yeah, I think you said like you
So-
wouldn't get to the first chorus.
Yeah, I was like, you wouldn't get through the song because like the venue have got this restriction on the limit, at, like the sound and stuff like that at midnight. And yeah, I just don't like that. It's just the entitled stuff that you were saying, Ben. Like, it just really doesn't sit well with me when
No.
people think that you're going to just be fine with stuff changing
Yeah.
or like.
The one we're setting up, the time setting up. The main issue I have is, again, it's your problem that you're trying to make mine.
Yes, yeah,
Your wedding, this wedding, what you're in charge of, or it is your wedding, has run late, and now you're putting the pressure on us to fix that problem.
yeah,
It's not our problem.
yeah. I also think as well, like the wedding industry is notorious for running late. So I always just find like, why do they not learn from that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, how many
Yeah.
thousand of weddings do you need to do to know that, oh, actually, probably the speeches are going to be a bit longer than we thought?
Yeah.
Like,
I had a friend's sister get married a few years ago, and we were playing, and she was asking me about timings and stuff, and she said, and then 6, and then so put 10 minutes for speeches. And I went,
no.
no. I said, like, you might want short speeches.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna be short speeches.
Just wait till the father-in-law gets the mic.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
no one listens to.
But
Well,
again, it's like your wedding is running late. That is not my problem.
Well, I feel
I've
like-
done my job, and I've got here on time.
Mm.
And so the phrase I've started saying this year throughout the gigs, because I decided to go, I want to get set up, so we are set up. I want to get sound, so we got more time to sound check and get that sort of thing right. And then I was feeling like, no, there's this pressure and anxiety on my shoulders, which has come from them.
Yeah.
It's come from them, and now I've put it on my own shoulders, and now I'm like sweating, rushing, trying to
Yeah.
get things set up. And then this year I was like, no, they can fuck off.
Mm.
And a phrase I've had for this year is, you're on my time now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck what you've been doing all day. It's going to take me how long it takes me to set this up.
Yeah.
And it will not take longer than an hour and a half. So I know I'm
That's
not
it,
going to
exactly,
break
yeah.
the
If-
contract. I'm not going to go the other way. It's like, if we rush, I know we can get it done in an hour. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
If you wanted the first dance at 7:30, you should have got them out of the fucking room earlier.
Yeah.
You should have cleared the tables earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not my problem now. And so I will, and I think I even said to one of them when I was quite irate, and they said, oh, is there any, and I said, we need an hour and a half, and we didn't get in here till 6. We're not going to be set up till 7:30. Oh, but they really wanted, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it's not,
But it's
my
that thing as
problem.
well, isn't it? Of like,
And I did say, I think I even said, like, the more you talk to me, the slower I'm going to go.
well, yeah, and you can't also you can't negotiate with people like that. I find it's really tricky because like I'll be polite for as long as I can be polite without then needing to say we cannot physically then you have to be a bit more hard line with it.
But one thing I've learned over the years is, like, whether it's someone requesting a song on the iPad, whether you're doing the paid DJ or not, or venue people with timings or anything like that, or requests, is I've learned that, like, you cannot reason with them. There's no logic, there's no reason, you can't explain to them the actual logistics of why that won't work or why that can't happen. So I've just learned you just have to give incredibly basic answers that makes them go away.
Yeah,
And they say, like, guys, how quick? And I'll just go, we'll be as fast as we can.
yeah.
And then
Just leave it up to their
leave
imagination.
it at that. We will be as fast as I can,
Mm.
Or, like, if someone's, like you said, like someone wants a song on the iPad, but you've only got 5 minutes left, and it's
Yeah, what
so,
can you physically do? Yeah,
I'll just say something to palm them off. I won't explain it to them why I can't
Yeah.
do it. I'll just say I'll put it on next,
yeah.
and I'll put "Don't Look Back in Anger" and I'll turn the PA off, and
Yeah,
they can
yeah.
deal with it. A fucking grown
It's
adult,
done, isn't
they
it?
can-
Yeah.
So I just learnt, like, just do that. Can you turn it down? Yeah. Don't bother.
Yeah, just crack on. Yeah.
What don't you like about being in a band? Be honest.
Apart from George.
Yeah, again, two strikes.
Yeah.
I don't know, like
Do you prefer playing
Yeah.
solo or
I
with a
prefer
band?
solo in the sense of like it's easier for me, like in the sense of like just sometimes you want, because I do this obviously full time, it can be like tiring, and you feel like if I can get in and out of a venue in like 2.5 hours, get paid and go home,
Yeah.
that's easy for me, like to do that. Whereas like the band, it's like you're there 2-3 hours before, sometimes you're setting stuff up, moving heavy equipment, like which all of that stuff is obviously no one likes that side of the job. I love playing with my mates essentially. Like that's great.
Essentially.
Essentially, yeah. And I feel like we've all we've been quite fortunate that we all get on really well, because it was like quite a bit. It was a weird situation, like how it all got put together. I think.
Yeah, it was
like a boy band.
Yeah.
We're like,
we are very much like Take That.
Yeah,
in a way.
when we were like that first rehearsal, like, wow, this is it. This is who we're with.
Yeah, and it just worked. Didn't it?
Yeah.
And I think like that could have been really, really like
Yeah,
just gone awry, couldn't it?
yeah, it could have. Yeah, no, that was good actually.
But yeah, I find like the actual performing in a band is more fun, because you can just vibe off each other and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and it's like a lot more energetic and things.
Yeah,
But then also like playing solo, I get to play stuff that I wouldn't necessarily play with Wildwood. But then like the stuff that we do, like my solo stuff, that's like a little bit more of like a passion project, and I can sort of be like, oh boys, can we do
Gatorbone.
this? Gatorbone, yeah. Available now on all streaming platforms.
What is a Gatorbone?
Yeah, so do you want to know the story behind that?
yes,
Yeah.
So
obviously.
I was watching
It's a song that
a
George played drums
yeah,
on,
it's a
isn't
song of mine, yeah, the George played drums on.
Actually, it is
big time.
5:30, so maybe we wrap it up.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. Go on, what's the Gatorbone?
I've got another song called Wrapped Up, actually. It's weird to say that. Yeah, Gatorbone. So I was watching a documentary on YouTube, like all the great thinkers of our generation do. And it was about a kid in America that only eats Kraft mac and cheese.
Legend.
Yeah. So like all great sort of song stories start similar to that, don't they?
Surprised it was only on YouTube.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, BBC should have commissioned that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So watching that
He only ate
documentary-
Kraft mac and cheese.
Only ate Kraft mac and cheese. Oh, maybe it was Kraft and one other brand. I think maybe I don't want to slander him and say that he
No.
only ate Kraft. It might have been, but it was just exclusively mac and cheese. And he was driving to Walmart in the documentary, like obviously going to do his shop.
Wait, how old is he? I thought you said a kid.
Well, I say he's a kid. Oh no, well maybe he was like 16, 17. He was,
Oh,
I think
okay.
he was quite young. He might
Right.
have not been. I don't know. I can't remember the age. The
I
age
think at
isn't
some
really
stage
important
you
in
can
this.
get your learner's
Well,
license
yeah,
when
yeah.
you're
Yeah,
14.
yeah. Well, this is it. And
Or Mac, innit? Easy.
So yeah, he was driving to Walmart, or he was being driven to Walmart, and he drove past a sign that said Gatorbone Road. It's somewhere in America, Florida
Yeah.
or something, and I just thought, oh, that sounds cool, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Gatorbone sounds quite a cool little word.
Yeah,
Just wrote the song off the back of that,
I like that.
and it was just like a fiction thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know anyone that's like a gunslinger in the Wild West, as you know.
I thought it might be that when you started the story that it would be really fat kids who will only eat mac and cheese, but he runs out of mac and cheese.
Right.
The only thing he can eat is an alligator.
Yeah, I did think
Oh,
it's something
that's
okay.
related
come
to an
into his
alligator.
garden. So
Yeah.
and he chokes to death on an alligator's
Yeah.
bone.
Yeah.
I mean, I've missed a trick there, to be honest. Maybe
Yeah.
that could have been.
Hidden meaning.
Yeah, I've just had a night.
yeah.
Yeah,
deep.
it's a metaphor.
Yeah,
really.
it's got layers. To
Yeah,
it.
it's got
Sort
a
of
great-
through the
Bob
lines.
Dylan.
In a lot of ways, yeah,
Yeah.
the modern day, the Portsmouth-based Bob Dylan, yeah.
So how much do you do with your solo stuff?
I'd like to do more, but I find it really hard, like in terms of, well, there's a financial side of it, obviously, like it's,
I'm not cheap.
yeah, this guy's not cheap, you know. 80 quid to come down from Brighton, he's taking a piss.
If I'm lucky.
Yeah, if he's lucky, yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe a
Christ.
couple of free cokey wokies on the
I think
side.
you've made that 80 quid back in bread.
Yeah, well, that's it, yeah.
Look at that
80
loaf.
kilos of wheat and
Mellow.
stuff. Yeah, obviously it's one of them ones where you think if you could be out earning like sort of 200-300 quid on a function gig as opposed to earning like £80 on a originals gig,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? And especially if it's like, you know, June, July, August, as we all know, wedding season is lucrative, isn't it? Like you don't want to necessarily sacrifice. You've got to find the balance of that, that monetary thing with the passion thing, like your interest.
The last gig we did in Chichester, like the songs that were your songs went down really well.
Yeah.
It was just, you know, because it was like, what's this?
Well, I think if you've got a crowd that likes music is the other thing, like, because you've played to some people in like functions and pubs, whatever, and you just think like you clearly don't enjoy music, like, and that's not me being arrogant as in like, oh well, if you don't like this, you clearly don't like anything, because it's like I'm fully aware that it's not to everyone's taste, but like, you know, like say,
I think we forget how much music
Is in our lives.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
and to some people
They're just happy hearing Ed Sheeran on the radio.
Exactly
and
that,
That
yeah.
is it.
yeah,
There's no further analysis, in-depth finding things like.
yet for us it's our core
yeah,
of,
yes, you
of
feel like how
this
can
and-
you not be affected by it, or
yeah
how can you not
and,
be,
and they are just
yeah,
They just take what they play and they don't even really love it.
No.
You know, like my mum, for example, she's like, "Oh, I like that song,"
yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah.
That's as deep as it goes.
yeah, yeah,
You know, there'll be some 60s stuff from her childhood, but she's like, oh, that's nice. That's it.
It was like that guy that hired us on Saturday who, you know, big Mumford and Sons fan. He's like, the only other band that's any good, Coldplay and Mumford and Sons. That's all you need.
But he even said, didn't he? He was like, yeah, Chris Martin, shit singer. He was like, yeah, he's like, shit singer. He's like, but I just like him.
Yeah.
He was like, I was like, fair enough.
But you do feel like shaking some of those people and being like, there are other people out there. But also, if they're happy with Adele and Ed Sheeran.
Well, I also feel like at a certain point, like your development is probably not going to change. Like you don't change as a person. Like maybe you change as a person with like certain things that happen in your life. But I feel like
I'm still listening to Rage Against the Machine, Mum. I'm still listening to it. I didn't grow out of it.
But like I feel like I'm not going to enter like a phase. If you, do you know what I mean? Like, let's say, like, I'm not.
The mullet is here for good.
The mullet's here for good, yeah. And I'm not gonna go and listen to something and then become like some part of some different subculture. Like now, I don't think.
Get your emo phase on in your 30s.
Yeah. I don't think that's gonna happen. So I feel like when you're playing to people that are indifferent, it's like they're not gonna necessarily like be inspired by something, are they? Probably.
I'm never gonna get into Star Wars.
That is a shame.
I've missed that phase. But I remember Lemmy saying this.
Feisty one you are.
I remember Lemmy.
His only Star Wars reference.
saying about how like whatever you listened to when you were like a teenager to late teens, that will always be your favourite music, and no music that ever comes out will ever top it.
Do you subscribe to that?
Yeah, 100%. Because I think there's, you know, he said like
you only listen to Arctic Monkeys, isn't it?
Well, this is it. Yeah, but it's like I love Fontaine's DC, but it won't hit like that first Arctic Monkeys album. You know what I mean?
Something happens there, doesn't it?
So yeah, all the people that grew up in the 50s and started hearing rock and roll, you know, you think of the Rolling Stones, they're never going to listen to anything that's, I don't know, hits them
I
more.
think my mum, if she puts on some 60s, she's clicking her fingers.
Yeah.
That's it, because that's her teenage years.
Exactly.
And nothing...
It's something visceral, isn't it? You can't. And that's the other thing. I think like people like I get this all the time at solo gigs, and they'll say, like someone will say, "Can you play this song?" And it's like, "No, I don't know it." Oh, how do you not know it? Or like they'll play it to me on their phone, and I'm like, "Oh right." And then I'm sort of I'm having that indifferent reaction.
Yeah.
And they get frustrated, and it's like, but I don't think you can't force that to come, can you?
Yeah.
Like, and I think like seeing stuff live again is like that's maybe why when we've played some of my songs live and like they've been reacted to well, it's cool because it's like in that setting that feels more real and more raw, doesn't it? So it's like, I don't know, like you're more likely to be affected in that setting, which is why I always err towards live as my sort of passion than like being in the studio.
Yeah.
As great as it is, and as much music I listen to like outside of those live settings, I just think like, because I've seen so many bands that I just feel like, oh, if I'd have listened to this live, on like a track, I wouldn't have been bothered by it. But because I'm hearing it live, it's like, oh, that's like, it's affected me differently.
Should we finish up with some Christmas presents?
Yeah. Oh God, go on then.
Yeah.
Is this tie back to what you started with?
I've got some bread I can dish out, guys.
Yeah,
if you want some.
I'm so hungry.
There's enough to feed a few thousand here, I think.
No.
I was expecting a slightly different situation this morning, but here we are.
So have you got presents for Elliot and?
Yeah. So, but I didn't buy presents. I didn't know how to go about it. Josh very kindly got us gifts last year.
Yeah.
And I thought I'm gonna.
My gift to you is Jimmy
up.
Carter night. Let's go.
Thank you very much. Yeah. My gift to you is.
But you don't go. That's what I
be
said.
one of these, or help tuning your kit because that sounded fucking rubbish. Oh, can you shoot my Gretsch kit? Yeah. Oh my god, I can't believe you're giggling this. This is awful. It's not even bad. This is awful.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like. Josh was very thoughtful with his gifts.
He was. Yeah.
A can of good stock.
Oh yeah.
Elliot.
Throwback to the first.
Co-op crisps for me.
Yep.
Tea cakes for you.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. So I was like, do I go that sort of route? I'm going to play a little game.
Oh, okay.
It probably doesn't work as well, but I have 3 gifts
Do we
wrapped
have
up.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Now.
Sorry, I'll let you explain the game rather than.
Yeah, sort of what they do in the office, American Office.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if this will work, but whatever. So George, you can pick 1, 2, or 3.
2.
So that's your gift.
Lovely wrapping paper.
It is wrapping paper.
Some thought into that.
I'm trying not to guess from holding it.
Now, Lennon, you can either pick one of the other ones or steal George's.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Ooh.
Oh, this game. Yeah, I like this game.
Do you know what? I've got the bread. I'm going home with the bread, aren't I? So
bread's guaranteed.
Anything I get beyond the bread is a bonus. So I don't want to sort of take away from George's Christmas cheer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might. This might be the bad one.
Yeah, but anything's, you're going home with something, mate.
Right.
So
Oh, I see.
just be grateful. while
Is it
Richard's
swap
bit-
or take?
I'm going to
What
go
did you say?
3, please. And I'm going to leave George with his current gift. 'cause
He's
I
going to
feel
go
like that's-
3.
There we go.
No, it's smaller.
Thank you very much.
As a kid, that means worse.
Now, obviously, there would be another person.
Go on.
So I'm going to just throw it back to you, George.
Okay.
Do you want to stick? Do you want to swap? Or gamble?
Ooh. Can I see how heavy it is?
No. I'd say no to that.
No?
Well,
we
You're
weren't
lucky,
bringing in
you're
that.
lucky you get to see it. even.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's... Yeah.
Well, that's clearly a mug.
Well, there's no way to
So-
talk about me. I'll
A
come
shape,
down.
innit?
Yeah.
Probably a bottle of wine or something.
But I really want to know what this is. So I think I'm going to risk it and stick with this one.
You're going to stick.
Because
Okay.
this
That is a
this-
more interesting shape.
This is the most interesting because that's a mug. That's That's a box.
I
or something,
hated that at
or a
Christmas when
book.
people would say, like, kids get to an age and they sort of say, like, oh, I know what that is. It's like,
Yeah,
just
I
let
know.
the...
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah, and that's what you're doing now,
Yeah. Well,
Taking away them-
yeah, you're talking about me. Yeah.
taking away the mystique.
Well,
from
as
my
it's
gift.
Christmas and you came all this way,
Well,
fill in
thank-
last
I really
minute.
Well,
You double
really
dipped.
is an honour to
He's
be
double
here.
dipped.
Oh, I'm jealous.
long time listener, first time contributor. It's great.
Right.
So what are we doing then?
You
How
can
are we-
open them if you want.
Yeah,
Okay.
obviously.
Well, this one's obviously a mug, apparently, according to George.
Well, let's do
shall
that
I go
first.
'Cause I'm
Yeah.
the guest, so
Yeah,
it's-
you go
yeah,
first.
it's a bit rude of you to
Well,
jump
right, you
straight
got
in.
2 presents and a loaf of bread.
It's double wrapped, I
It's not
think.
a mug now.
Bloody double wrapped. This guy cares
Don't
about
want
his,
it to break.
cares about his ceramics. Oh, that's a lovely touch there. Little Harry Styles mug, I believe, is that?
Is that Harry Styles?
Looks like Harry Styles. Yeah,
Yeah.
sort of like an AI generated Harry Styles.
Yeah, there's no One Direction official
Well, that will
on anything that.
that
Someone's made that just with a
that'll
sort
be
of Harry
enjoyed by all, I would
Styles.
have thought. Thank you very much. I'll pop that over there.
Don't forget to take that home.
Oh, I won't. Absolutely not. I just have them looking at me there.
George?
Yeah, your bread and your mug.
Can be enjoyed simultaneously, actually, probably. A cup of tea with some toast or something.
I still don't know. I've taken one wrapping paper off.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. That's awesome.
Just a gold thumbs up.
Yeah. Is there any more explanation needed? Any more context to that? Or is it
No.
just that's what it's called?
I'll explain the context when you open your
Right,
last
okay.
one.
What do they?
See, I think this is the winner. I think this
Ooh,
this
here we
will
go.
come in.
No.
This was one I was tempted to keep myself.
Oh, mate, already. Right, that
I'm gonna
is.
get FOMO.
That's a fucking cracker. That is. E.T. the extraterrestrial E.T. phone home card game.
Wow.
And let me just pull something up for you, boys, just to show you my hang on,
Your love
justify
of
my
ET.
enthusiasm for this gift.
No, I love the thumb.
2 seconds. Thanks, Ben, by the way.
Yeah,
just going
thank
to show you
you.
something here, mate. This was me on the 4th of December. Just going to show you a picture.
Let's have a look.
Universal Studios.
I went on that ride in October.
There you go.
Oh my god, yeah.
So
think
yeah,
that's
long
worked out
time ET
perfectly.
fan. So that is a cracker of a gift. Thank you very much.
So my
That'll be enjoyed this year.
category was, what can I get from TK Maxx for under a £5?
Wow, you got
And that's
all
what I
this
found.
for under a £5.
£5 each.
Oh, okay.
£5 each.
Wow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
And they
I've done bloody
amused
well,
me.
really, haven't I?
I think you've done.
You d-
I think the pod's loss in Elliot is my gain. 'cause
And
I've had-
Josh.
and Josh, yeah, sorry.
no,
Sorry,
it's
Josh.
okay.
Okay,
yeah.
so you can have a lovely slice of bread,
You could have
Yeah. Or
30
toast.
slices of
Yeah,
bread.
how many have we got here?
There's
cup
a
of
lot.
tea, and play ET the card game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that card game is it's a great gift. Thank
I
you
mean,
very much. The
it's
bread's-
too big for a
It's
toaster.
as big as my thigh.
Let me take
Look,
a
there we
photo of
go.
you. Can you hold your bread?
I think we
just
need
so
that as
we've
a
got
new
something for the-
bread measurement. Can I get a thigh of bread?
Yeah. Where do you want it there?
I don't know. Like you've got a fish. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll do,
like
we'll
that,
do some
wouldn't it?
photos of all the
Like that.
gifts
Yeah.
at the hour. Turn the lights on.
Yeah.
Should
Brilliant.
we wrap up there?
Yeah.
Cheers
Unlike
for
a
having me,
present.
boys. I appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
for coming
you.
down, mate, and
Yeah.
stepping in.
Yeah,
Spontaneous.
no worries. Anytime. It's good to be part of it rather than just a small segment of it. You know, I've been able to talk as much as I want this time. It's
You
good.
have.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Yeah.
Where can people find you, Lennon? Where can
Oh,
they
yeah.
find you and
they
your
can
stuff?
find me on Instagram, Lennon Taylor Music, Facebook, Lennon Taylor Music, Spotify, Apple Music, all the streamers. 2 songs out. I do actually have a Christmas song which I took off of the streaming services because I just felt like it wasn't really in line with the other stuff that I was doing at the moment, but probably release that next year.
Yeah,
Again,
put it back on.
re-release it. Got some gigs coming up. We're playing Icebreaker George, aren't we?
Mhm.
In
Oh,
February,
nice, yeah.
February the 1st, on one of the stages and one of the venues.
Yeah.
One of the times.
Yeah. I was gonna say. I need to know what time.
Yeah, one of those.
Please
So, yeah.
tell me the time.
Yeah.
Gigging all the time. Come and see me at a gig.
Yeah.
Say hello. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you the rules of ET the card game. Give you some bread, because I'll probably still have some left in the new
lot
year.
of bread.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for coming down.
Cheers for
George,
having
anything else?
No, I was just trying to count the slices.
Trying
We'll
to
do
count
that
the
after. It's
slices.
probably an off-pod one, that, I reckon.
Yeah, we'll leave you to count the slices. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. See you in 2025.
Yay!
Thank you for listening to Drum and Drummer. You can find us on Instagram at Drum and Drummer Podcast. And you can send us an email to drumanddrummerpod@gmail.com. Remember, just pick up the sticks and twat it.